Boop. Got it.
Nice.
Is there a time limit on this thing?
There's no time limit.
Okay.
Yeah, but you tell us if you have a time limit.
No.
But we usually go for like 30 minutes, and we won't want to go longer than an hour. So somewhere, as soon as it hits, I could set a timer for 30 minutes if you want, but so first I'll do the intro. This is the Getcha Some Productions podcast, a podcast covering all things related to music production, from the first note to the last fan and everything in between. My name is Keith.
And my name is Daniel, or so I've been told.
And we have a guest today.
My name is Raja, and I'm the guest.
Hello, Raja. We usually, this podcast is actually just a business meeting between me and Dan, where we kind of try to figure out how to build a music empire, in a very disorganized, bumbling fashion, but right before your very eyes and ears, so you can see our progress or lack thereof. But today we have an interview. We're going to feature Raja, and I guess first thing is we have to plug our one sponsor that we've had, which is Reverb.com, which is a music, an online music marketplace for music equipment. It's a pretty cool place. There's people like you and I selling stuff, and also big stores sell stuff, and local stores and all that stuff. So there's lots and lots of cool stuff on there. It's fun to just browse. So we are affiliates of Reverb, and if you go into the description of either the audio version or the video version of this show, you can click the link and you can buy something for yourself at no additional cost, and we get a small commission. So if you feel like supporting the show, you can like and subscribe or whatever, or you can leave a rating and review, but you can also do that. That's that. We're done with that. So today we're talking with Raj Azar, an old friend of ours, and this is the second time you've been on the show, Raj.
Yeah.
But we want to talk about.
Back.
Oh, we love having you here. We want to talk about your new EP. It's called Stay Automatik, which actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, it's like a hilarious title, because Stay Automatik is like it is automatic. So would you need to like proclaim that, or would you need to like tell someone to stay automatic if it's already automatic? Is that the idea? Was that the?
I don't know. It just kind of, I don't even know how it came about, but it does sound, it sounds like one of those cool things you say, though, like stay tuned, stay automatic.
Stay automatic. Yeah. It does sound like that.
Stay cool. But
exactly.
No, because we wrote that song, that it's basically just that vocoder phrase, that's boys get automatic, girls get automatic, over and over again are the lyrics.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like we just started calling it Stay Automatic for some reason, and I don't, so then like that's kind of a cool, catchy title. It's nonsensical enough to where and vague enough to where people can kind of put their own meaning on it, but
totally
just makes you sound like a badass.
Actually, it's going to be a great shirt when you do merch,
right?
Stay Automatic.
Yeah.
So the name of the group is Doce Operator.
That album art was, yes.
Oh yeah, go ahead, tell us about the album art.
Oh yeah, well actually the album art was made, do you remember Jamie Curcio?
Of course.
Yeah. Remind me, Jamie Curcio.
He was another guy we went to college with. He kind of one of those like polymath type of people. They write books, they do art, music. It's one of those weirdo, out there, brilliant kind of people. And they've been getting into AI artwork a lot lately, just as a
Oh,
tool
cool.
for their stuff. And yeah, Jamie did that artwork. Actually, I just saw a post. Uh, yeah, that's it. So yeah,
Stay.
that's a J Curcio original. All I
Nice.
did was just put the text on there. But
Shout
So
out to
cool.
Jamie Curcio. Fantastic.
I know it's pretty amazing, right?
Hmm.
They just posted that on Instagram, and I was like, oh, that's a these are really great. There's a whole series of these kind of like velvet Elvis style Jesus on riding on a panther with machine guns, 70s looking things that I thought would be make good album art. So I just, you know, sent a message and asked if I could use it. And I guess that's one of the benefits of having friends that do interesting stuff. So you can always get free album art.
Is he using uh ChatGPT or another one of
Uh,
those
I I think I
video
think
ones?
Mid Journey
Mid Journey.
and I'm not exactly sure what the process is, but I know that after the images are generated, then there's some, importing into Photoshop and tweaking and refining and
Right.
stuff, you know.
Here's one that I made just recently.
Nice. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That remember the Ireland, the cliffs of Moher?
Where's the
Yes.
crab? Where's the
Yes.
Yes. Oh man, I just came across those photos a while back. I was organizing some stuff, and I just have this big messy box full of all my old pictures, and I pulled out these huge wide format pictures of you standing on the edge of the cliffs playing your guitar. Pretty.
Yeah, I actually stumbled across them recently also. I don't know why. So, would you mind, even though you've been on the show before, I actually think it would be nice if you just talked a little bit about yourself, like how you got into music, like your superhero origin story.
Okay.
Because we want to, like, pretend like we're actually a real show, like a real interview show.
Right.
And
Okay.
so, and that's sort of like, and also, I'm not sure, maybe I forgot, or I don't know your whole story. You
Okay.
don't have to, I mean, you could talk for as long or as little as you want, but just give us a little background, like how you got
Yeah.
into music.
uh,
Obviously, we know the audience doesn't know anything, so let's just
Right.
assume they want to
Yeah, I'll
know.
give you the quick, like,
Yeah,
Cliff's Notes version.
yeah. Give us the whole story.
So I actually, we moved but my family, when I was a kid, we moved here to the States from the Middle East when I was it was like 1985 or something.
Hmm.
Um and I entered the US public school system, which back then had a pretty fantastic music education component to it. So, I started playing violin and then trumpet. And my mom was like, well, if you're learning these instruments, you should also study piano too. So my mom, grew up in Washington, and her piano teacher that she had when she was a kid was still living at the time. So I started taking lessons with him. Um, his name was Martin Swartz, and then eventually just kind of, dropped the violin and the trumpet and all that stuff, and just focused on the piano because it was like, I fell in love with piano. It's, in my opinion, the best instrument.
It's pretty awesome.
um, it's pretty great. I love it. I mean, I guess there's no such thing as the best instrument,
Best
obviously.
instrument for you.
Best instrument for me,
Yeah.
yes. And then, just went to college where I was introduced to the magic of electronic synthesis via Bob Bilecki and Richard Teitelbaum, and learned all about synthesizers and stuff on that huge giant Surge rack modular synthesizer they had there in the electronic music department, and got my own synth finally. It was my sophomore year of college. In between sophomore and junior years, I had saved up enough money, bought a Roland JP 8000, which I still have, and then that first purchase opened up the floodgates, and I've been buying and collecting too many electronic instruments ever since then, as you can see by the everything's
Yep.
kind of covered up now, but let's see, there's
There they are.
Nice.
racks
Yes.
behind me. There's my modular.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I have spent way too much money on gear over the decades. Um, but yeah, then hooking up with Nick Jones at Bard was what kind of got me into the more like multimedia performative aspects of things. And we were doing those shows that first like live, like poetry, theater, music thing we did, the Revolving Doors of Gary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that like kind of opened my eyes to the more like, instead of just like the straight sitting down in front of a piano or a synth or with your band just standing there playing music, like it got kind of opened my eyes to the more performative aspect of things. And like then came Jolly Ship, the Whiz Bang, the band, puppet show, rock opera that all three of us were involved in. And then just playing, moving to New York City, playing in bands, doing recording sessions, theater projects, and then I mean that's pretty much it, really. Moved back to the Northwest about 10 years ago, and I actually had kind of, the starting a family, kind of like trying to start over again in a new city. All the music stuff fell by the wayside, and I was just actually didn't touch the piano or a synth or any, like all my gear was in storage for about like I don't know, almost a decade, I would say. And then
Did you not play piano at all
and
in
then
that time?
no, I didn't.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Wow.
didn't touch an instrument. And I was getting, and I was like, oh, I guess that part of my life is over. I'm a dad and a carpenter now. you know
Mhm.
But then one day, out of the blue, a friend of mine here in Seattle, who is a drummer, just called me and asked me, because he knew a little bit of my history and my story and stuff, and asked me if I wanted to play synths in this band called Downtown. And he sent me like shitty little recording of one of the songs they were working on that sounded like, I don't know, it was like Devo meets Ladytron or something. It was like right up my alley, this like kind of grimy, somewhat offensive, sarcastic, like electronic punk song. And I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, I'll do that just for kicks. And that kind of got me back into it. And I don't know, God, that wasn't even that long ago. It was in like 2016 or something,
Mm.
And then Downtown kind of took off. It didn't take off, but we were playing a lot of shows, did a couple tours, recorded like 2 albums. Then when we decided it was time to retire that, Nick Nick is
Wait,
my partner in Doce Operator.
downtown, didn't you guys like open for the Butthole Surfers or something?
That was Doce
Oh,
Operator.
that was Doce. Okay.
Yeah. So what happened was, we had like retired downtown, and we're just kind of like kicking around some ideas and trying to figure out like what we wanted to do next. I mean, we still wanted to like do something, we were just like tired of that thing. And so we were like kind of just half-heartedly writing music, and nothing serious yet. But then Chris Anton called me up and asked me if I wanted to open up for, it wasn't Butthole Surfers like officially, it was Gibby Haynes, the lead guy from the Butthole Surfers, was doing this tour with, it's like this, what was it, this music academy. Basically, it was like this East Coast version of the School of Rock, where all of these kids will, they go and learn to play rock music, and it's like this band of like high school kids. And then the culmination of this experience is they hook up with an actual like rock musician and go on tour playing that person's music. Like the group we were with had hooked up with with Gibby Hayne, and we're doing Butthole Surfers music. There was another tour going on at the same time, actually, and they were with the guy from Yes. So they were like these like high school kids. They're like virtuosos, crazy good musicians, going around and like learning all the kind of like rock and roll tricks of the trade, and playing yes music in these like huge
Okay.
concert halls all around the country. Like it's kind of cool, like I wish I'd done something like that when I was in high school.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah. And but so when Chris was running sound for that tour, he asked me if we wanted to play, open up for the Seattle show. So, of course we said yes, because it was at the this like killer venue in downtown Seattle called the Crocodile. It's like a storied old music venue, or all the, back in the 90s, it was like, everyone played there. So I was like, hell yeah, I'll play the Crocodile with, I didn't know it was the rock, this School of Rock thing yet. I thought it was just like Butthole Surfers. I was like, oh fuck yeah, bro, we're gonna be opening for Butthole Surfers. So we like quickly we're like, oh, we need to think of a band name. We need to like write new material. We got to do all this stuff. So everything just kind of happened in a big, frenzy of activity. There was about 3 nights where we were up until like 2 a.m. just texting back and forth like potential band names and stuff, and trying to figure out what we wanted to call ourselves. And it was fun and ridiculous, as those types of conversations usually tend to be.
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah, we settled on Doce Operator as the name for the new project, and then we just like wrote all of these new songs, and just specifically for this one show, actually. That's kind of how we came into existence. And the last year has just been, we've been trying to like refine the songs and record them and release them. So that's what this latest EP, we did three singles. Where the first one was the cover of the Jermaine Stewart song, We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off, and then 2 original singles after that. And now just this new EP, the Stay Automatic EP, which is 4 songs,
I
all self-recorded and self-mixed and mastered and everything, all completely 100% DIY.
I think you pronounced it wrong though. I think it's Doce Operator.
Oh yeah, No, it's actually Doce Doce Operator. That's the correct
Yeah,
pronunciation.
so dude, that's awesome. I love. So wait, so I wanted to ask what the if the name had any meaning, the name of the band, or how you came up with it.
Well, we were trying to think of something that had like kind of like a reference to electronic music. And I was thinking a lot about like at the time like FM synthesis, which is like frequency modulation. And the way that works is you have a carrier, which is the sound wave, a sine wave, and an operator, which is another sound wave that modulates the carrier. And that's how, so basically by just like combining different algorithms of carriers and modulators, like all, or the modulator is also called the operator too. So by combining all these different, combining all these waves in different ways that like modulate one another and with different like amplitudes and frequencies, and kind of like you just kind of mix and match all these sine waves, you create these like super complex, beautiful sounding or harsh sounds that like the Yama on the I'm trying to describe FM synthesis now. I'm not doing a very good job, but it's basically those like 80s synthesizers, like that you hear on all on like all those like 80s hits, the sounds that you hear on like the Madonna and Phil Collins, and I don't know, every 80s song, the using those like old Yamaha DX7 type synthesizers. That's all FM synthesis, which is different than what had been going on before then, which is more like subtractive synthesis, like on a Moog or something, where you combine different wave shapes, like square waves or saw waves, and then use a filter to subtract partials or overtones away from this like huge thick sound to get your final synth tone. So like it's kind of like the opposite methodology, where like the like with the Moogs it's called subtractive synthesis, where you're taking harmonics away, and then with FM it's like additive, where you're just like kind of stacking sine waves one on top of the other, and then using sine waves to modulate the other sine waves to create these sounds. And so the anyway, operator is the term for the wave that you're not hearing, but is modulating the sound of the wave that you are hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like throwing around the concept of like operators, like, oh, I don't know, operator assist or operator this, operator that. And then Nick was like, he's the one who came up with Doce Operator. And Doce is Portuguese for like smooth or sweet or something like that. So we're like, oh, that's perfect. Doce Operator,
Oh.
like smooth operator. That's how that came to be.
You know what? I love that.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It's very courageous to put any word with an accent above any letter in the title, in the name of your band, because you get just like posting on it just adds a level of complexity to just posting on the internet, like writing about your band, because you have to put that fucking accent in every time.
You gotta take that extra time to get you gotta hold down the E button and then slide your thumb over to get the right accent. Yeah.
Yep.
And then also, it's like, it's one of those things. You remember where a few years ago, back when everyone was putting umlauts on top of everything to make it look cooler and more, complex.
Yeah, I actually have an umlaut on my lower back. So it's a
Oh, you got an umlaut tramp stamp.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's what I have. I have that now.
Cool. Are you gonna show it off or what? This is a PG.
It's a different kind of show.
That's also a safe word, umlaut.
I love that. All right, so I listened to your EP, and it sounds so good.
Really
Yeah, it
it,
sounds so good.
awesome. Thank
I
you.
was like freaking out. I was like, holy crap. Raja made something that sounds really like good, like professional good.
Oh, nice. Thank
And
you.
yeah, so I was like, holy crap, this dude just came up with this thing. And then when you started saying, I think it was in the text thread, you were saying, like, oh, yeah, it was a real challenge to self produce it all and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I want to hear about that because it sounds like if I heard that and I didn't know it was you, I would think that it was like some like real, like fancy, whatever. I don't know, like London, uh I don't know. It's a maybe I don't want to put a geography on it because it's so irreverent that it doesn't. I don't think. Can you hear the music outside my window?
yeah,
It's just it's so the style is so irreverent, but
yeah.
the the sound of it is so good. It's so funky, and it's so like legit sounding like electronic music that I was just
Yeah.
like, holy shit, this sounds great. Anyway, so that's my
Awesome.
feedback. But then you started saying, oh, it's like you ran into all this stuff about the production of it and stuff. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks for saying that because I actually, it was about like a year-long learning process, just figuring out, just learning like actual, like real mixing techniques and mastering techniques and stuff. And when I listened to the earlier stuff that, it's up on Spotify, those first 3 tracks, it's like, I actually want to go back and remix them or remaster them now because they sound like bad to me now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean they sounded like okay when I put them out. I could tell like because when I would like listen to Spotify and like set it up so that it would do like like a automatic playlist type thing or something. So I'd listen to all these songs that were kind of in the same genre, and then our song would come up, and it would just not sound as good as the other stuff that was on Spotify. So I knew that like I wasn't quite getting there yet with the whole process, but now and yeah, now when I listen to the these this new EP, it sounds like pretty comparable to the other pro stuff that's on there. So I'm like, oh, okay, now I want to go back and redo these other ones to get them sounding good too. And I like I spent a lot of time just watching YouTube, like, and I even did that. I paid for some. There's this guy. He's called Streaky, and he's like an electronic music like mixing guru kind of. He's mixed and mastered for all these pro musicians, has like years and years and years of experience, and he's started doing these like just little educational YouTube videos and selling courses and stuff. So I bought a mastering course from him, and it was like maybe about not even that much, man, like an hour's worth of content or something. And I paid like I don't know, I paid like I don't remember how it was like $50 or something, and I got just this series of videos about his mastering process. And that was the first thing that I was like, oh, okay. I got to like sit there, and he like walked us through how he masters a song and like what he listens for, what he like, how he fixes things that he hears wrong, and then like his action, like the plugins that he uses, and why he like chooses the settings that he does, and he kind of like goes through his whole process. So that was like my first real like educational thing where I saw like someone's actual mastering process, and that was just like worth its weight in gold to me, because then that got me thinking about like I have all these all these plugins on my computer, because I totally did the thing when I was first like figuring out how to mix, where I was just like buying all of these plugins. I would, like an ad would pop up on Instagram or something for like, some crazy, like the clipper that the pros use to get that polished sound. I was like, okay, I'll buy. I was just like buying all these plugins and throwing them all. Like my earlier like mixing sessions. I look back at them now, and it's just like every single track is just like layered with like 5 different plugins, and there's all these weird like routings and sendings, and it's just like a mess. It's like learning how to like simplify just my actual like mixing session. And like sometimes you don't even need especially with electronics, and synthesizers, like the sound is already there. Like you have this badass synth sound, you don't need to do much to it. So like learning when to use what plugin, and how to actually use the plugins that I have too. So I like, after going through this mastering course, I like just spent like a week or two just playing with the plug, like figuring out what the plugins that I have actually do, because you always hear, you like watch some of these YouTube videos and the people's like, okay, you put compression on this and use this type of compressor on, this type of thing, but you don't use that compressor on vocals. You only want to use it on, and it's just like so much information overload, and everyone has something different to say. And so, and it made me realize that I didn't actually know how, like I didn't even know what the fuck compression did for, for a while. I was just like, I mean, I knew it like controlled dynamics, but I didn't know how to like hear it or listen for it, and like listen for when I needed to use it. Like for a while, I was putting a compressor on every single track just because I thought that's what you were supposed to do. Um, so like I did the streaky videos, and then there's this YouTube channel called Produce Like a Pro that it's just like a gold mine of information of these producers just talking about their different techniques and their process. And they'll like, it'll be a video of this guy just like, you can watch him mix a whole track basically, and he talks you through what he's doing. And like, and then that channel introduced me to a bunch of different techniques for mixing that like I had never. It's like, oh, and it makes so much sense when you think about it, like dynamic EQ, for example, where there's like, you, instead of just like, you listen to a track and you're like, oh, the treble is harsh, or the needs more treble or whatever, and so you just like kind of dial in the EQ to make it sound better. It's more about thinking about like how one, like, how like the synth pad might be masking the vocals or something. So like, oh, I'm not hearing the vocals that well. What's covering them up? Like, oh, well, the vocals and the synths are both sitting in the same frequency range. So then you think about like what's important. What do you want to hear? At this part, I want to hear the vocals, but I don't want to like sacrifice too much of the like overall sound of this synth pad. So you do a dynamic EQ where the, when certain frequencies pop out too much, you set your frequencies that you want to tame on the synth pad. And then when they pop out too much, they'll hit like a threshold. It basically works kind of like a compressor, where like, when a certain frequency hits a certain, volume level, then the EQ kicks in and ducks it. And then so I learned about like dynamic EQing, where like it's like you don't even really hear it happening. That's the cool thing. So you still have like the full richness of the original sound, but then like there's just all these like kind of momentary inaudible ducking of certain frequencies. And then I learned about side chaining that, which is it'll be triggered off of another track. So instead of just like, EQing the synth pad based off of what the you know, what I think it should be sounding like, I'm actually having the frequencies that are in the vocal track being ducked and triggered by the vocal track. So every time, you know, it's like, you know, let's say the vocals are operating in like the 3000. Oh, hey, what's up, homie? Good morning.
Morning.
I'm doing a
Zoom call?
yeah. What's going on?
Just woke up.
Cool. Good morning. Say hi to Keith and Dan. This is Sebastian.
What's up?
I just woke up.
Yeah. Well,
What time is it there?
It's about
I don't know.
8, 10.
It's 10:15. Time change. But hey, man, I'll come out when I'm done with this. All right, you can do your thing.
Awesome.
Yeah. So they yeah, so let's say, you know, like there's a frequency clash going on between the vocals and the synth pad in like the 3000 hertz range or something. So then like whenever the vocals trigger the side chain, then you just duck 3000 hertz. And when the vocals aren't there, you know, that's still there in the synth. So it's like you can hear the vocals, you're not sacrificing any of the sound quality of the track that you're EQing. And I don't know, it's just like crazy, like I was like, oh, that's like some advanced ninja shit right there. You know, like I never would have thought of that on my own. And it's just like, and it makes so much sense when you start thinking about it, you know, because you're just like, when you're mixing a track, you're, you know, you're balancing. It's all about the balance. And you have to make sacrifices. Like, you know, like you need to get certain things out of the way so that you can have, you know, what you want to be the focal point be like up front. And so just like learning all these different little techniques of how to like, you know, kind of do all that in these not very noticeable ways. It's like really that it was really invaluable, you know, and it was all just from watching YouTube and that's and so yeah, I just spent like a year basically just like watching these videos and basically just those two channels, really, just the streaky guy and the produce like a pro, and then like practicing them on my own mixing sessions. And I feel like you can kind of hear the evolution, you know, because like the first track was the, you know, the cover, like it sounded pretty good, but it was like very quiet, and I hadn't really like figured out any of those techniques yet. And then the next one, it was a little bit better. And then the third one we released was that song Panic Revs, which is the one that I want to remix the most, actually, because I'm like, okay, that song needs compression like in the bass, and so I can hear like the volume levels now that they're just like kind of out of control, you know, all over the place. And I was actually kind of happy now because, you know, I never knew what compression really did until about a year ago. And now that I know what it does and I can hear what's wrong with the track, and I know, okay, I should use a compressor there on that. And I still can't really hear, you know, like some people, they're like, oh, I can hear they're using too much compression there, or, you know, I hear the compressor working. Like I still can't really hear that. Still don't know how to listen for compression, but I know at least now when I need to use it. So that probably means I'm using too much. And I think on this new album, that's one thing that I would like to change. If I were to remaster it, I would dial back like the and because in the final mastering process, because I was just focusing on getting it loud. You know, I wanted to get it loud so that it would be the same volume level as the other stuff in on Spotify. And I think in doing that, I kind of sacrificed some of the dynamic range of the tracks. Like they're all just very like in your face, and there's something about like because you bring everything up, but there's only so loud you can get stuff before it starts clipping. So you're just kind of like squashing the track and squashing the track and squashing the track, and you lose some of the life of it when you get to a certain point. And I think that's something that I did with this album, where it's like just not the end result is not as dynamic as the pre-mastered tracks. But I mean that's my only complaint about it is that. So I think that's pretty good. And the fact that I noticed that tells me that I'm starting to learn how to hear compression too, which is cool to me. Like I'm just it's a process, and I learned a lot over the last year from going through this.
Mhm.
Because before, we'd record the song, we just we did it all. We would do it all just at home. There's like DIY recording style. We'd be like just on our laptops, bouncing the tracks back and forth to each other via Dropbox. And then once we had the song finally done, everything recorded and arranged, then we would send the recording sessions over to Nick's brother, who's like he has a recording studio. It's called the Recovery Room, and he's an actual what do you call it?
Engineer.
Yeah. And he also like designs and builds pedals. He has an effects pedals company called Recovery Effects, and so he's just one of those like genius audio kind of guys. So we would send it to him, and then he would mix and master it all, and that's why all the downtown albums sound so like good and pro, because they were mixed and mastered by a pro. But I mean, not only did I not want to pay for a someone because paying someone to mix and master it gets expensive. I also just wanted to like get better at it, so that's why we did everything. All the Doce Operator tracks, we did it all myself. So it was kind of like one of those like willful wanting to do it myself from start to finish things, but also wanting to save money so that I could buy food for my children.
Well, it does sound awesome. I
Thanks.
think I was curious when you were talking about like well, actually, first thing is that was actually fascinating that you said all that stuff, because I was wondering about all the recordings that I've made in my life and why they don't sound like professional.
Yeah.
And I think you may have hit upon it, because I think it's like the idea that applying, like I know that I've done mostly self-recorded stuff and self-mastered stuff. And even the stuff we did together was sort of like self-produced in a
Yeah.
way, even though there was that one time where, there was a fair amount of money put into that one album, which sounds great, but
Right.
there is still something about it.
There's something lacking about it. Yeah.
There's something about it. And I wonder if it's the fact that it wasn't dynamic like you're describing. Like it's like if you have this one track and then you want to EQ like the synth part or the guitar part or the drums or whatever, and it's like just this global EQ on the whole thing,
Right.
or just this compressor plugin that's just on the track, and it leaves it sort of like feeling very, I don't know, like one dimensional or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas what you're
Compression
describing,
can do that. Yeah. It's like a
yeah,
very useful tool in that, it controls the dynamic range of a part. So
yeah,
you use that to like rein everything in so that you can have enough headroom on the overall track to like bring things out and bring things down and keep stuff under control, so that then eventually when you master it, you can bring everything up to whatever loudness level you want. But yeah, you can if you overuse it, it totally sucks the life out of everything. I actually read something really interesting just the other day, which is that Andy Wallace, you remember
yeah,
Jesse's
yeah.
dad,
Jesse's dad.
and he's like, big name in the recording industry. He's worked with like everyone. He never uses compression. he hates it, but what he does is he uses volume automation. So he'll go
Volume
through
automation.
on
Yep.
each track and just like move the fader up and down and record
Yep.
those fader movements, because I mean that's basically what compression is. It's just like automatic volume control.
Right.
But he does that specifically because he doesn't like the sound and the like the dynamic suck that compression imparts upon tracks. So he just does it all fucking manually, which is why his stuff sounds so alive. I mean, it sounds like it's a live band playing right in front of you when you listen to it. Like, it's pretty incredible sounding.
Yeah. There was some point, like after Dan and I made this record in 2012, and I've listened to it so many times at this point, and I just like had this, after listening to it for like 5 years and not being able to put my finger on what I didn't like about it, I reflected upon all the time that me and our friend Justin spent in his room, in his like home studio, like putting so much work into the mixing and mastering of it all.
Yeah.
To the point where it was like, I think that's where we went wrong. We did so much. We had this attitude of doing so much in post.
Yeah.
That there was a point, like maybe like sometime in the mid, like in like 2018 or something, where I was just like, you know what? I'm just never going to record anything except live from now on. It's all going to be first takes and live.
Yeah.
There's
just to
get
something
that
to be said for that.
Yeah, because you want that, like, you want it to feel alive. Like, so even if there's a mess up or something, and even if there's like, if it's, I mean, it has to be a great take. But, it's like, I feel like so many times it's like, even if you're like looking for that great take and you go over and you listen to them all, it's like, you end up going back to that first or second take anyway. So it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. It's always take one or two. Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah. So that was, dude, that's fascinating.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I'm sick of these songs now. I spent so much time mixing these things and like it's hard with your own stuff, because you just, once you listen to a song that you wrote like for the 300th time after like, making minuscule tweaks, it's just like you get sick of it, like it's hard to judge your own stuff. You're your own worst critic, like is that you're talking about that Handshake album,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, like I think that sounds great, but when you listen to your own stuff, you're never going to not be critical.
Right.
Of
It's
it.
like looking at your own face in the mirror. Like other people see this
Exactly.
thing they really love seeing, and you're just like, oh my God, the line or whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Raja, tell us
Totally.
where we can find your music so we can, put links with it.
Okay. So we are 100% digital at this point. There's no physical releases yet.
Okay.
But we're on Spotify,
Okay.
YouTube, Apple, all the streaming services. Also, Bandcamp. But the best option for getting our music is through our website at www.doceoperator.com, where you can download all of our tracks. Well, you can download our first 3 singles for free, or you can purchase the new EP for like $4 or something. And there's no middleman. The music goes straight to me, or the music goes straight to you. The money goes straight to me.
I like it. Awesome. Yes. So we'll put a link up to your website. I think that's probably the best thing.
Totally. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
set that up like a couple weeks ago, actually. I was like, oh shit, the new EP is gonna be released in a couple days. And like I made this website. It was really quick and easy, actually. Set up an online store. And now actually, oh, check this out. I found this old box in storage of 3.5-inch floppy disks. And so I'm gonna do a physical release on these. I just got to figure out how to shrink the files down to where they'll fit on 1.4 megabytes. And so yeah, there will be a physical release soon on 3.5.
That no one will be able to actually play.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go out and find a disk drive. But something about those like old dead media formats that I still love, like, I don't know, having this physical thing like in your hand. It's never going to disappear. The server isn't going to go down and take it away from you. There isn't some like sneaky end user license agreement that can take it away from you and you'll never see it again. I lost my whole eMusic catalog because I don't know, something happened or not. Yeah, eMusic. I don't know if you remember that streaming service. It was like an iTunes alternative back in the like mid 2000s. And they had all this cool indie music on there, all this weird stuff. And I spent like thousands of dollars buying albums and stuff from eMusic. And I don't know, I guess they like changed, someone bought them out or something. I don't know. The other day I was like, oh, because I got this new computer, like my old hard drive that had all my old music on it died. I was like, oh, okay. I download the new eMusic app, sign in, and there's just nothing there. Like everything that I got from them is now gone. I was like, fuck, dude, there's like all those albums that, I mean, it's kind of a bummer, And then I was like, shit, that can happen at any moment with anything, like the whole thing with like the Apple Store, like suddenly just deleting all those movies or TV shows that like, people bought them and then all of a sudden they're just gone, So it's like, it's nice to have a physical copy of something that is yours forever until it deteriorates, as 3.5-inch floppies tend to do.
Yeah, they're not exactly permanent. In fact, I wonder if those ones that you just grabbed actually still work.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't even tried them yet. I just pulled them out of storage. I was cleaning out my dad's office for him, and I have about 100 of them.
Wow.
And yeah, we'll see. I still have an old USB disk drive hopefully it'll work. I don't know. I haven't tried plugging it in yet, but.
Well, it's a great idea. It's a cool little like also just memento of like if you love this band or something and you just want to have like a physical thing, but then you have this like very unique physical thing, because I don't even know if you could still. I assume you must be able to buy them, but like who has 3.5-inch or whatever they are floppies anymore? Like they wouldn't even sell them or produce them anymore. It's probably just like old stock if you can get them at all.
Yeah, I have no idea.
This interview, I had this feeling, the first time I've ever had this feeling, where I felt like the guest was talking so much that I felt like guilty for making you do so much work. I was like, this is very relaxing for me because Raj is doing all the work. I'm like just sitting back, listening. I'm like, well, this is fascinating.
Sorry, I have a tendency to go on tangents. I get overexcited about shit. Like I will get if you let me go on a subject that I'm like actually into, I will go and talk myself in circles. So please interrupt at any time.
No, you were an excellent guest. That's why I was like, just let me just chill here and just sit back and relax and watch the show. And let me drift away in the sultry voice of Raja's voice.
Bask in the glory of my dulcet tones.
Dulcet. Listen, tune in at 9 p.m. for the Doce Operator. Wait, what's Nick's name?
Nicholas Markle. So he's on Instagram as Armani Warchild. Oh yeah, so these are our stage names. You know, he's Armani Warchild, and I am Fist Millions. So you can find us on Instagram as, you know, under those monikers. And he's also been working on his own solo stuff lately. He just released a cassette of weirdo synth music that sounds pretty bitchin'. You can check that out.
Cool.
And yeah, we've been we work pretty well together. You know, we both kind of have the same vision. There's not much infighting, no like arguing about, you know, I don't none of that like ego shit has come into play so far, which is nice. You know, we just work really well together. We just kind of try and support each other's ideas, and I tend to be a little, you know, like I get overexcited and will want to throw too much stuff into a track, and he's more minimalist, so he helps like pare shit down and, you know, make the arrangements a little more coherent and cohesive. And then I don't know what benefit I bring to him, but you know, it's probably something.
Well, it's just what you
But he
said.
definitely, working with him definitely helps me out.
Cool. So we'll include links for doceoperator.com. We'll include your Instagram links, and we'll put them out there too, like just in general. But yeah, this is awesome, dude. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah,
Thanks for entertaining our audience, and thanks for entertaining us for a little while.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
pleasure.
it sounds, dude, the friggin' EP sounds so good.
Dude, thank you. Yeah,
It's
I'm actually
like,
really proud of it, especially just, I mean, considering where I was at the start of this journey, like not, I mean, I've done my own, you know, like, recording onto, you know, like a tape 4-track machine, you know, and like just really kind of rudimentary skills when it comes to that. And now to, you know, just after spending like a year learning stuff, I can make something that sounds like this EP does. You know, I went from zero to hero. It's just, no, I am really happy with it, and I'm excited to keep learning. I actually just bought another streaky course that I'm gonna go through soon. Yeah, his stuff, I mean, for some reason people talk a lot of shit about this guy. I don't know, maybe it's just because it's, you know, the internet and everyone's gonna talk shit about someone who's selling something, and, you know, they say he doesn't know what he's doing, or say that whatever. It's been so helpful to me, and like, I guess my one recommendation would be to just like, if you hear someone talking about something that like resonates with you, or you just like, you know, you think what they're saying is interesting or valuable, just spend like a few months investigating all the shit that they're putting out, because it'll, like, it helped me so much. Like, I mean, you can hear the end results, like the new stuff in comparison to the old stuff. It's just like, it's been worth it, you know, just spending that time studying and learning, and, you know, in between all of the family raising and existential dread and screaming at the sky, like, you know, I get to spend maybe like a couple hours a week just like working on learning these skills, and it's been paying off.
Well, now I'm going to listen back to it with this conversation in mind and see if I can hear, you know, where you're, you know, where you've applied those techniques, because now I'm fascinated to listen back, because actually I was just listening. I've listened to it a bunch of times just since you sent it to me, and I was like, mostly just taken by how pro it sounds.
Yeah.
So that was really impressive, and I was like, oh shit, like Raja's got his shit together with respect to like mixing and mastering. But and actually, you know what? Sorry to keep the conversation going, but there were actually even some points where I was listening. I can't remember what song it was, but it was like you had put in just like some sort of synth part that was like accentuated like a chorus section of the song or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh man, this sounds so good, but also like the choice you made in that spot struck me as so professional in a way.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? Like I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, that's like a pro move, well done.
Thank
So
you.
I was thinking to myself, oh damn, nice. I like that little thing. It was like almost like, I don't know, like a Daft Punk moment or something,
Yeah. Well, I did actually, that's another thing that I did was I spent a lot of time listening to other people's music,
Yeah.
and stuff that I liked, I was listening to a lot of like just electronic music for, over the last couple of years, like a lot of dubstep and then like Italo disco and like French house and stuff, and that definitely kind of influenced just how I would make the arrangement choices, because I was like, that was my goal, was like, I want to make something that sounds not like it was done in a bedroom studio, even though it was, I want to try and like create a pro thing. So yeah, just in the actual recording process and arranging process, I was making a lot of choices too, just based on like, just thinking about it compositionally. And it helps that I've spent my whole life, you know, studying the art of writing music and stuff. So but like, yeah, I had this my end result in mind was to like make something that sounded like you would hear it played on the like Spotify hyper pop playlist or something, so I was definitely making choices with that in mind during the writing process, and then the actual like recording, thinking about like how I'm going to get the best sound quality out of this, like cheap Guitar Center tier recording gear that I have, like just thinking about stuff like, like headroom and my signal chain and all that stuff. I remember I spent one day doing nothing but trying to eliminate ground hum in my recording setup because it was like coming through my audio interface, and I could like and it wasn't even that bad, but it was just like this little like noise floor, and I was like, it was making me crazy. So I spent like a whole day just like calibrating my room, just current wise. you know
You know what, dude? Well done. It shows. I this is a good example of something that I do not have the patience to do.
Yeah.
And I'll say you because you made an interesting comment where you said you worked really hard to make it not sound like you were in a bedroom studio, and I literally made the exact opposite choice today with this podcast.
Yeah.
By recording in my bedroom. So I'm not trying to make this seem professional at all.
Right. Oh, and I appreciate that aesthetic as well. A lot of my favorite albums, like that first Ween album that was just like two guys on nitrous with a fucking Tascam 424 not giving a shit, and it sounds incredible, like
it does sound so good.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Well, you're amazing. Thank you for coming on the show. Can't wait to hear what you have coming up next.
Thanks.
Now, here's one bad thing.
I'm gonna try and put out a extended.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you. I was just saying, I'm gonna try and put out an extended dance remix of one of the EP songs next. It should be done in a month.
Are you serious about that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, totally. It's gonna be like a 7-minute long track.
Awesome. You gotta let us know as soon as that's done. Let us know.
I will.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The only problem now is that now that I know what you're capable of, I'm going to be bugging you to make shit for me.
Dude, anytime, man.
Like
I want to like do stuff for other people, like make, work with other people. If you want me to mix something for you, dude, just like I would love to do that.
Yeah, actually, I've been working on a series of jam tracks to practice to, and they're just one single note,
right?
and in all 12 keys. And I actually pay people to help me. I make them myself in a sequencer in my phone.
Yeah.
And I pay people to mix and master it. I feel like I should just pay you,
dude,
and you'll do a great job. And I think it might be like a better thing.
I'll 100% do that for you.
Yeah. Because and I think like also I think like the quality of sounds I get on my like bullshit, iPhone sequencer is not going to be anywhere near what I can have you make.
Yeah.
But also we can collaborate on other like more artistic things, like actual like real music, not just like jam tracks or something silly like that.
Well, the jam track sounds like a great zero pressure way for me to dip my toe into the waters of mixing someone else's thing.
Yeah. Zero pressure.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, man. Cool. So
enjoy the rest of y'all's day. Thank you so much for having me and letting me do some shameless self-promotion.
Hell yeah. No, we'll promote
All
you as
about
much
it,
as we can. We're gonna plaster the internet with your shit.
Right on.
Yes. Raja, it's great to see you. Great to talk with you and see your beautiful face and hear about what you've been up to out there.
Yeah, it's so great to see you guys. Let's chat again soon.
Peace.
Hell yeah.
Right on.
Later.
Peace out.